He was stealing and handing it back to the greeter. Okay, that's totally legal.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the May 23rd, Monday, May 23rd meeting of the Human Services Committee. This morning and early this afternoon, we will be hearing from Veteran Services / peer-to-peer. Then we'll hear from Countryside Adult Home and we'll complete with Department of Social Services. So the first item on the agenda, I want to thank you to the previous chairs for keeping us on schedule this morning. That's always appreciated. The first item is to call the meeting to order at 11:55 and then approval of the minutes from the prior committee meeting. Do I have a motion to Supervisor Frazier? Do I have a second? Supervisor McDevitt, thank you. Good morning, Denise, and you're also going to be, I'm sorry, a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Abstain.
okay, thank you. Denise, you're on, and I know that you have a guest to eventually introduce us to.
Yeah.
I have one request under the agenda action item, a resolution request form number 12, notice of intent to fill a vacant position. And that's to backfill one regular part-time van driver position and add another per diem. And we all have the backup to look at. Denise?
Yes, so the two positions that are out there are one to backfill Jeff's position, which Jeff was promoted from a driver, part-time driver into the Veterans Benefits Counselor position. And so we would be backfilling that position. And the other would be to bring on another per diem driver. We have the available slot. We just want to fill it. We're not creating anything. We're just filling a position.
Motion to bring that to the floor.
Second.
Supervisor McGowan, Supervisor Frazier on the second. Discussion questions for Denise? Supervisor McGowan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Denise, we've had this up before. It's there's so many people that want to help out the veterans and that, you know, I know we've had a little problems filling this. Is there any reason why? Is it maybe is it volunteer? No, it's part-time.
Well, Supervisor McGowan, we haven't had a problem filling the positions. We've had many of applicants. We've had a lot of movement within the department. I had 2 retire, then we backfilled those. And now I have a part-time person that wants to let's say, reduce his hours. He needs a little bit more free time compared to working a regular schedule. So we want to move him back into a per diem position, which would then allow for an open part-time position to be open. So.
All right, so
Okay.
it's all good. All right, cool. But just want to make sure.
Oh, yes. No, we have plenty of applicants. We almost don't
Good.
have enough spots to
Well,
fill all the.
that's what I thought. I would hope that you had more.
Yes.
So thank you.
Good
Yes.
question, and thank you for the response. Any other questions or comments on
No,
this request? Yeah.
maybe just one observation. I was looking at your biography, and so I think it's a good choice. Okay, that we have somebody with that kind of understands the deal and has empathy for the people involved. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
This is
We'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously approved. Thank you. And I guess this is the time where you can introduce us to Mr. Cook.
Yes, so I'd like to welcome Jeff Cook to the department. He started in April, at the end of April. You all have the formal biography there at hand. He's a lot nicer than what the picture looks like.
My military smile on the bottom.
But I just wanted to also give a little personal brief on Jeff. He was born and raised in the North Country. He retired from the United States Air Force with 20 years of service. Then moved to Thurman in January of 2020 and lives there with his girlfriend, Sarah. They have 4 grown children between them, and one of Jeff's children is currently also serving in the United States Air Force. Civically, he's an avid snowmobiler and volunteers as a groomer for the Thurman Connection Snowmobile Club, and is also a member of the American Legion Post 374 in Lake George, New York.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Happy to have you.
Any other items, Denise?
I do. The last item, I just like briefly to go over the outlook for veteran services over the last couple of years. As you can see, I'm looking at this sheet here, the 2019 year, the figures have not changed. We were hoping for a little bit more claims to be approved from that year, but have not as of today. In 2020, you can see the difference, looking good as we were going into that COVID timeframe. And then 2021 also increased, still does not look bad, but we still have quite a few outstanding claims to be reported from the VA. And as we enter 2022, we have currently right now 43 claims that have been submitted, and others that necessarily wouldn't be reported only because they don't draw any kind of monetary benefit. So like a pre-arrangement for a burial or something like that, providing a headstone or bronze niche to a family, those kind of things are not reported on here because they don't draw any kind of benefit or a monetary benefit that comes in. The transportation service is picking back up. We're pretty much running every day, Monday through Friday. The passenger count is going up on a daily basis. And we believe that for the most part, it's due to people being vaccinated, being comfortable enough to be sitting in a van with other people. And also the fuel prices are certainly helping. So with the rise in fuel prices, more people are riding our transportation. There's a current Supervisor McGowan. The current van drivers right now are Mike Donahue, Gary Gifford, which is a new employee that we backfilled, and Mike Terrio also. And the count for the passenger lists on the vehicles, as you can see there, already for 2022 is probably going to exceed what's happened over the past couple of years.
Russell, thank you.
I just have one question. In the future, you'll be coordinating with Rob York to get us information on the status of the peer-to-peer.
I have information. I didn't necessarily.
Well, no, that's fine. But
Okay.
in the future, one or both of you will be sharing that information with us.
Yes,
Great.
I do have something to share. I mean, we have
Go
elected.
ahead.
We have elected an entity to run the
Yep.
peer-to-peer program.
Yep.
That is SUNY Adirondack. And our first initial meeting, I do believe, is taking place on June 2nd.
Okay.
Which all the people will be present. We'll be handing off supplies like advertising signs and tents and things like that. And we'll work out all the rest of the details.
I would just ask if you could share that information with Supervisor Frazier and myself as the Health Services Chair and the Human Services Chair.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that we can at least be on the same page with that.
Sure.
So appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you very much for your time. And,
Yes, thank you.
Jeff, we'll
Thank
see you around.
Thank you. Now.
Thank you, Jeff.
Appreciate
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Next is Countryside Adult Home. Amy, good morning. Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It is.
We have, looks like we have 6 requests. I'll leave it up to you to go through each request. I'd like to possibly do them separately unless anyone here thinks that we could combine those, especially you, Amy, as far as the different positions. I know a lot of them are cook and meal site related.
Well, actually, they're just for countryside. I don't do anything with meal site as far as filling positions.
Actually, yeah, that's what I meant, the countryside
Yeah.
food preparation.
So all three positions are just for the dietary department.
Okay.
We are supposed to be a staff of 6. We are a staff of 3, which has caused the staff to work 6 days a week and double shifts since the beginning of the year. So we are in dire need to fill these positions. I've gone through and I've called any old applicants that we might have had file, going back as far as 2017. The same answer is always the same. What is the rate of pay? And I tell them, and they're not interested.
But what, I was gonna ask that question, but it's gonna vary with each position, I'm sure, in terms of, but average hourly rate would be,
Between $14 and $15 an hour.
okay.
And we expect these people to work holidays, weekends, nights, and come in during a snowstorm.
Let me just jump in and get a motion to bring this to the floor so we can discuss it.
Okay, can we bring 1, 2, and 3 to the floor?
Yeah, thank you. Do I have a second on that? So Supervisor McDevitt and Supervisor Frazier on the second. Any additional questions? We'll vote on 1, 2, and 3 as a combination. Any other questions for Amy? Comments?
Chairman, if you don't mind,
Well, I'm sorry, Supervisor Brame.
that's okay. That's okay. I knew I told you I had to leave when I saw you in the hallway, but I just wanted to note that this is the same problem that came up for the exact same location, but with respect to the home delivery for the meals for the Office of the Aging, that we're not paying these people enough. They can go to McDonald's and get a job that is much simpler and doesn't have as many demands. And we really need to make sure this is included in the reallocation. You know, I'm all about making sure we're not spending county dollars in the right place, but I think that these are the individuals whose salaries we need to increase to make a big difference for our residents. Thank you.
Is there a recommendation to possibly bring this to either personnel or finance, or a combination of those two? Is that something that individuals want to entertain?
We can't do that right now because they're like union people.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it has
you're
to-
right. Okay, I'm
okay.
sorry.
Right.
Thank you.
And they are in the mix. for
Okay,
reallocation.
okay, so we'll do our best to address that in as timely and efficient manner as we can.
I just, no one minds mention, if I mention what Countryside puts out in one day. We put out 100 meals, all home cooked, everything's from scratch, for just for the Countryside residents. Then we put out 75 meals, same quality of food for OFA. I mean, and we're doing that with 2 cooks. A lot.
Wow.
And then 66 snacks too.
So I'll call the question on requests number 1, 2, and 3. Do I have someone that'd like to make that motion? Oh, we already have. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll call the
Just gotta
question.
vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Number 4 is a transfer of $40,000 from 6030 110 full-time salaries to 6030 120 salaries overtime. And if you could discuss that, please, Amy.
We've blown through our budget for overtime. I mean, in the first 6 months, we, as of today, our overtime is 1,048.71 hours. And that's because each cook is working 26 hours of overtime per pay period. So not to sound irresponsible or that I don't fiscally care about the overtime, but my biggest concern is their well-being. I mean,
Burnout.
6 days a week, 13, 14-hour shifts. How long does that last? And now, and the thing that I was thinking about today is that we have the potential that they're going to lose benefit time if we don't fill positions. I work Saturday, so these ladies can have a day off. I mean, it's not so bad in February when it's snowing and cold out, but you know, come May, when the weather's starting to get a little nicer.
So do we have,
I'll bring that motion to the
Okay.
floor.
I'll second it.
okay, any further discussion on number 4? I'll call the question.
I do.
Oh,
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm listening to this discussion about this vote, and just like the previous one, I'm part of this committee and I'm a little frustrated. I mean, we're hearing Amy speak to us about the problems that she's having. And our only answer is it's in allocation or reallocation or whatever with the union. I mean, what are some creative solutions that we could be addressing here? How can we be helping? And I mean, I get we're going to refill positions, but that's not meeting their need. We just allocated over $1 million or close to $1 million of ARPA money into Countryside. We bonded money, we put it in money. I think we have 35, 40 residents in Warren County, and they're also stepping up to the plate with the meal sites. I mean, we recognize that pay is an issue, but it's not isolated just to this particular department. We're continuing to hear from people. What are we going to do about it? I'm asking whether it be our administration or the leadership or whomever, but we need to start coming to the table with some solutions to help our staff. One after one, they're coming to the table saying they can't keep doing it. So what are we going to do? And I'm looking to our chair, to our administrator, I'm looking for leadership on this. And I think our employees in our community are as well. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to vote to fill positions, but we're not solving an issue here. And I feel very bad that our employees, some of them are qualifying for DSS. Some of them are struggling day to day, and all we're seeing are prices going up. And I can't believe we can't be a little more innovative in how to help. And I see there's other people that have questions on here as well on Zoom.
Amy, could you remind us what type of advertising and marketing has been done to date or this year to possibly reach out to the community and inform them of our situation?
Sure. So like I said, I've gone back and looked at all the previous applications we've had in the file. So that was step 1. We also are members of the ESAL, the Empire State Assisted Living Association, and they have a job board. So I put our positions up on that. Liza made out great flyers. And so the staff from as far away as Essex County all the way down as far as Saratoga County put these flyers up in any public area that there was a bulletin board. Don has spotlighted us numerous times. I was hoping that the Spectrum News people would be like, yeah, I want to go work at Countryside. So I kind of thought that was just good advertisement in itself. Unfortunately, we didn't really get anything. We are now looking at Indeed. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, Indeed, which is where I've had the 3 resumes that have come across. But once you call and tell them, you know, what we're offering for a pay scale, it hasn't gone any further.
Mr. Chairman, just as a follow-up real quick.
Yep, go ahead.
Those are great ways to advertise and get the word out. And I agree with you. I think we've done a much better job, particularly since bringing on a public information officer, at trying to reach out and let people know what we have to offer as a county. But our perks, if you want to call those them, aren't anywhere near what they used to be or what perhaps the common perception is of working for local government. So we have an ability to give bonuses. We have an ability to do incentive pay. We have an ability to pay mileage. We have an ability to get out there and say, we can reimburse for your educational expenses. What are we bringing to the table that you mean to tell me all of this has to be negotiated with the union? And if so, let's get that meeting. Let's do it. I mean, let's move everything up as fast as we can. But what happens when we have no staff? And what happens when I think we're starting to reach a level of really needing some solutions and some leadership here. And I'm hopeful I'm going to see it.
Good point. I thought I saw Supervisor Bramer's hand up virtually.
Thanks, Chairman. Yeah, I did. And I think what I wanted to say was that I talk about the financial responsibility of paying people more, but then I look at the fact that we have to pay all this overtime and makes me wonder whether we're doing a disservice by not just having a few more people who are paid a little bit more rather than having to continue to pay this overtime and the well-being of our employees, as our director has said, is probably not great having to work this much time. And we saw that certainly with health services. So I really hope we can address this, like my colleague from Queensbury said, as soon as possible.
Supervisor McDevitt?
Yeah, I think I, as a supervisor, I get the message. I understand. Today has been kind of an interesting and an important day from that perspective. The fact that we are clearly uncompetitive in terms of reimbursement for some employees, okay? I think Ryan certainly heard that. I think that our chairman's heard that. So let's give these folks 24 hours to kind of come to grips and kind of go forward. I mean, so but it's again, I think today has been a day where it's been said 7 or 8 different times in 7 or 8 different ways today. So I hear it, and I'm sure Chairman Garrity hears it also.
Supervisor McGowan?
Well, I have to, this has been some great discussions, and I agree with my colleagues up on the screen and my colleague sitting across from me there that, but I will have to say, I am taking your 24 hours and I am bumping it to 12, okay? No, we heard it Friday. This has been going on and it is burnout. I've been there many times, but thank God we have dedicated employees. We're able to pay the overtime that drives, the money seems to be the driver here, but I look at some of these figures and I'm like, holy mackerel, they are. And unfortunately, I hate to say, well, to taxpayers, we got to pay a little bit more, but we also have to keep up with, when we lose DPW drivers to the towns, because the towns can pay more, what's wrong with us, But I understand the process of how we have to do it, and it is complicated. So I'm asking everybody, let's hang in there, but let's stay on top of this and move it as quickly as we can. But unfortunately, being government, we know nothing happens overnight. So I go back to 24 hours. Okay, maybe can we go 48, Peter?
That's fine.
Okay,
Whatever you want.
48.
I forgot to mention too, that I did reach out to our local principals for anybody that was in the culinary arts programs, and sent the posting to them to no avail. Nothing.
But
Follow up on that. How about SUNY Adirondack? I mean, can they find anybody?
It's, from my understanding, it's kind of all grouped together. So I sent it to the BOCES program, the culinary arts program, plus my local principals that, may know students that aren't college bound this year and are looking to go into the workforce. So I reached out to them directly.
I think that's a great, I would call again, say you're really desperate, is there, we are coming into our season, at least if it can help us until you could find someone. And we got the kids that are coming out of school, maybe, I know my son went through the culinary and then went on to Johnson Wales. And really, he came out of the culinary, BOCES and that in the school. It was really amazing. So I'm happy. But I'd push for that one again. That sounds like a
Doesn't hurt
winner.
to make another call.
this is certainly an issue that we're not going to stop talking about, and we certainly, it's an urgent matter. I will call the question regarding the transfer of the $40,000. All in favor of that action?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay. And again, I will work with the administrator and others to come up with some creative, hopefully solutions and in as timely and efficient manner as possible. I'm sorry. Supervisor Bruno, I'm sorry, have missed you.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I hear echoing, recurring throughout departments is a problem of compensation. So you can search and advertise all you want, but apparently the pay scales are not commensurate with ability or responsibility or however you want to term that. So my point is, we need to collectively or have some committee, I don't know if that's necessary, but start really investigating what we do, whether it's DPW, human service, countryside, wherever, to address apparently the issue of inadequate compensation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Number 5 is a request to transfer $1,000 from 6030-110 full-time salaries to 6030-855 disability. If you could help us with that.
That's not it's not a budget line that I have anything to do with. It's set for us, and we've normally never had a problem, but we did have an employee this year that needed to go out on disability, which put us in the red.
Motion to bring that to the floor. Mr. Bevitt and Supervisor Frazier on the second. Any questions or discussion on that? We'll call the question. All in favor?
All right.
That was number 5. Number 6 is to apply for 2022-2023 equal grant and ability to accept grant if awarded, and that's approximately $6,500.
No, it
Oh,
has, sorry,
sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt. It has the potential of being millions of dollars. They actually
Okay, I
put
was
out
looking at
there,
the wrong one.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure we're not going to get millions of dollars, but it's up for grabs. So last year we got $36,000.
Okay.
And that probably doesn't seem like a lot, but that purchased a new steamer for
Okay.
our kitchen. It also allowed us to, any of our TA residents got a $255 gift card to buy clothing. It also bought a new outdoor fireplace that we needed, new patio furniture. So we really made that money go a long way. So I'd really like to hopefully apply and get awarded and buy furniture for after the renovation.
Do you bring that to the table, Mr.
Oh,
Allen?
please.
Okay,
And
great.
please be a little bit
Do I have
more
a second?
creative this year with your,
Seven,
with your
okay.
grant writing. But no, that, I remember getting that last year, and this is, that was really some good news to bring here to the end of your agenda. So, thank you.
We've got a motion and a second. I apologize for misunderstanding. I really apologize. I'll call the question. All in favor?
I,
All right.
Okay, any opposed? Great. If you could just run us through the census report and overtime report, which we've already heard a little bit about.
So currently our census is 33. I have a very extensive referral list, and the reason we're keeping it at 33, obviously the cycle of life, we've lost residents, we've needed to discharge them to a higher level of care. I could easily fill those beds, but unfortunately we have to have a phasing plan for the renovation project. So we have to be able to have the ability to move residents around. So we need open rooms to do that. So that's why it's at 33 right now. And with the staffing levels, it's a manageable number.
No argument here with me.
Any other questions or comments for Amy? Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
And Amy, thanks for coming in on gorgeous Saturdays too, you know.
No problem.
And last but not least, Department of Social Services. Good afternoon, Chris. Good afternoon, Julie.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good. We have 5 requests. Chris, if you could just read those for us and share with us the rationale for each, please.
Absolutely. The first request is to amend our table of organization. It's a request to create and fill the position of case manager, foster care home finder. It's a grade 14 with a base salary of $44,384. We're also requesting to delete the position of social welfare examiner number 30, effective June 20th, 2022. This is based on our caseloads, and specifically foster care caseloads are increasing. So the demands and the goals of the unit are, always changing. Right now, we have a significant increase in foster children, so we do have a strong need for more foster homes. When we have our own foster homes, when we recruit and train and certify our foster homes, it saves the county money as well, because we don't have to pay more money to voluntary agencies who handle that for us.
I should have asked, is everyone on Zoom hearing the comments of those in the room? Supervisor? Okay, great. Good. Okay, I just wanted to make, I should have asked that earlier. A motion to bring that to the table, please. I'm sorry, Mr. McGowan and Mrs. Hogan. Thank you. Discussion, questions for Chris on request number 1? I will call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
You want
Request
to do
number,
2 and 3 together?
I was gonna ask that.
okay, yeah, good. We'll do 2 and 3 together. If you could individually read those for us, Chris.
And number 2 is a notice of intent to fill the position of intake clerk number 7. It's in our reception unit. It's a grade 4, step 1, which is a salary of $31,789. And this is due to a resignation effective May 9th. This position is also mandated and reimbursed. I should mention that the previous position that we requested is also reimbursed through the state funding streams. Number 3 is a notice of intent to fill the position of intake clerk number 1 in the reception unit, grade 4, step 12. Base salary is $31,789 again. This is due to a promotion effective May 9th, 2022, and that position is also mandated and reimbursed.
Motion to bring numbers 2 and 3 to the floor. Mr. McGowan, Frazier on the second. Discussion or questions for Chris?
Chris, are we having a hard time filling these?
We are. It's getting a little bit more desperate because these lower paying positions are, they're tough to fill when they're basically $15 an hour. And there's a lot of detail work, a lot of knowledge, a lot of regulations that must be followed, a lot of training, and again, a lot of oversight as well. So they're tough positions to fill. The jobs are not easy. They're super busy. People come into work and they have a pile of work, and that's what they've got to get done that day. And when we are behind on staffing goals, then we end up having other people have to handle that work or do overtime. So it's getting harder.
How's your overtime been? Just for
Aye.
this?
It's been.
You get there? All right, let's carry on. Let's move on with 2 and 3. I'm ready for a vote. Sorry,
I'll
Chairman.
call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? So,
I had a question, Mr. Chairman.
oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know we're all gonna have to get used to the Zoom format if we're passing a local law, but Mike, may I ask my question, Mr. Chairman?
But yeah, please.
Thanks. Commissioner, at our personnel meeting, Supervisor Diamond brought up some questions about so many people leaving. And I know we typically have higher turnover in some of the more stressful positions, but it does seem to be an exorbitant amount of numbers as we start to look at particular departments, just not overall numbers of the county, but departments from where there is turnover. He asked for copies of exit interviews or summaries of what's going on, particularly with social services. Is that something, Mr. Chairman, that we'll hear about today, or when will we get the update from Supervisor Diamond's request?
I know that I've spoken to Jackie Figueroa on that particular issue. I haven't had the opportunity to speak to Commissioner Hanchett about that. And I've got to get back in touch with our HR department as far as the process that goes. As I understand it, I'm not sure what percentage of the individuals choose to do the exit interview, or how many may get the information and just don't submit it after doing the exit interview. But I will follow through and get together with both Chris and Jackie again to try to get a response, not just to you, but to the entire committee. Mr. McGowan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, well, Mr. Ansel, it's mentioned before, I mean, and he just said it now, and I think I'm kind of familiar with it, but it's a high stress job dealing with, with people that are, in need or in help and frustrated. On top of that with the pay. And I don't know what the answer is, because we keep turning to the taxpayers and, and then they get upset. It's a difficult realm all the way across, but I understand the position here because it is a needed position. And I don't really have the answers. So we really is really looking down or looking forward to all we can possibly do to I think increase some salaries, but I think a lot of it is Chris says before, to me it sounds like you get burned out after a while, because you come in with a caseload, you have X amount to do today, and tomorrow you're going to have the same X amount, and if you don't finish what you do today, how do you handle it? I don't know what the answer is.
Chris, could you remind the committee, it's about 3/4 of the salary that the state reimburses. Is that correct, Julie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I can also address Supervisor Sieber's concerns about the exit interviews. We do chase down people literally, sometimes after they've left, trying to get them to fill these things out. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We have recently, when we've had some resignation letters, had very nice letters from people, but they just said, can't live off this. I work here and I qualify for benefits. And some of these are higher paying jobs. These are caseworkers that are in the 40s. I mean, if you make $50,000 and you have a couple children at home, you're broke. If you have no student debt, if you have no, mortgages or credit card debt, you cannot live off $50,000. That's impossible. And a lot of these caseworkers might be a single parent, so they don't have a dual income household. It's one of those things that we see over and over again. And as we all know, things are getting more expensive. So it is a serious concern, especially since, we do care about the welfare of our employees. We have great staff. And we also have work that is mandated by the state that we must do. So, it's concerning, and I'm hoping that this board can get something done to help the employees. I know you're all working on it, and we're certainly going to be watching closely to see what happens.
McGowan?
Yes, thank you. Chris, what is the state doing since it's 3/4 reimbursed? I mean, how's the state handling this? Because I'm sure this is happening for every county across the board.
The state is stealing a lot of our
Yeah.
employees by offering more money.
I'd
That's,
say, yeah.
you
You
know.
took the words
out
that's
of my
where our
mouth.
caseworkers
They're,
are
yeah,
going.
the state pays much more money with much better benefits for very similar work. So, and it's worth people to drive from the region to Albany if they're gonna make, a lot more money. Especially when they look at retirement, people that have been around for a little while, they're even leaving. They're like, well, if I join the state system and I get these benefits and I get much more of a salary, annual salary, that's going to affect my pension as well when I retire. And quite frankly, people are really sick of waiting around to make more money in Warren County. It's just the way it is.
Thank you.
And finally,
Chairman, can I,
oh, Supervisor Hogan.
Commissioner Hanchett, would you say that one more time?
Quite frankly, that sentence, quite frankly, employees are sick of waiting around for Warren County to do something about the situation.
Thank you.
That's, I've heard over and over again. So thank you for allowing me to clarify that.
And the state is paying more money
A lot more money.
for what?
They're also-
For similar work.
compensating us for.
Yeah.
They're offering some work from home.
Yeah,
As well,
we've
to
started
save on
a new pilot program, I'm going to call it, for employees who can work from home. So they can work from home one day a week. So they might save some time and money by not having to drive into work and pay, whatever gas is now, $5 a gallon about average, I'd say. Maybe a little less, but it's going to be $5 soon. So, that will compensate people because we do have people who drive from quite a distance to get to work here. We're, a pretty large county geographically. So we've got people that travel 45 minutes, a lot of them, to work each day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more discussion on number 4? Then I'll go on to number 5, which is the last request. That's a
We got to
request.
vote on 4?
I did not discuss number 4 yet, Chairman.
No.
Oh, okay, I'm
Hear that
sorry. I
one?
thought-
If I could
Those 3.
speak to that one.
3.
Okay, so do I need a motion to bring that to the floor for number 4? Okay. Got that, okay. Discussion or questions on number 4? Chris, if you could read that for us, please.
The notice of intent to fill for the request number 4 is for a caseworker in the Child Protective Services Unit. This person left recently for a higher paying job at the state. Base salary is $47,000. Again, the position is mandated and reimbursed.
And discussion, questions on that, please. I will call the question, all in favor of the notice of intent to fill for number 4?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And number 5 is the request to appoint members to the Warren, Washington County Youth Bureau. Motion to bring that to the floor, please. Supervisor McGowan, Supervisor Hogan on the second. Discussions or questions?
I have a question.
Oh, yeah. Supervisor. Okay, go ahead.
I've not yet met Supervisor Epstein from Stony Creek. Right at the top of the page.
Was that, yeah, I think I caught that too. Was that just a typo or that individual part of town government?
Looks like she's youth director. That's what it looked, if you read
Okay,
down, I'd say she's youth director from Stony Creek.
okay,
So
okay.
that's how it looks to me, but.
Mr. Thomas isn't here at the moment, so. Mr. Leggett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you could remove Mindy Conway from the list of appointees.
Okay,
I could speak to this as well. This is going back to 2021. We missed this last year. So there are a couple people that will have to come off and new people will go on. Mike Gray, the director of Youth Board now, will be bringing this to committee. So to answer both of your questions and concerns, there are a couple people on here that we realize are not current members because it goes back to last year.
is this a matter that we need to address today or?
No, we do not need to address it today. We just need to make sure that we have everything in place due to regulations going back to last year because we never actually had this in place last year. The board was not formally
Okay.
appointed through this.
So if we can vote on this today. and
Yes,
then-
we
and
don't have to
there'll
do
be,
anything else.
Changes in maybe next month or something like that.
Absolutely, Chair.
Okay,
And I will speak to Mike Gray to make sure that he's going to edit it. I did explain to him that I would bring this to committee to make sure that we're up to date. Going forward, he will come to committee for anything with the youth board.
so the request is to get us up to date and subsequently there'll be a new request made to update the members and
Exactly.
okay. So
For 2022? For 2022?
Yes, he'll review this and anything that needs to be changed for 2022 will be changed, it'll be edited. He will bring it to committee.
Thank you.
You got it.
So a motion to, oh, okay, so I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
Abstain.
Abstained? Okay, thank you. Vice Seaver. Action items, nothing I see unless there's anything else, Chris, that you have to offer.
I don't have anything else. I did send out the report
Great,
that
yeah, I
included
think everyone
activities and
got that.
updates for DSS and Countryside. And I think that Julie has a little bit here, of
Right.
more information in regards to probably overtime and most updated fiscal situation.
Thank you, Julie.
For April, our expenses were normal. Our revenue is pretty low for April, but that is normal. April is when I think they wait for the state budget to pass before they start making our payments. And that's statewide, every county, their revenue. I got a lot of emails regarding everybody being in a panic over not getting any revenue for April. So I'm assuming in May, we'll start seeing a lot more there. I did want to share some good news that our Medicaid shares for our payments May through December came in quite a bit lower than we had projected. And that is a cost savings for Warren County. That is our Warren County share.
Any questions or comments for Julie or going back to Chris? Nothing being heard. Double check with the virtual folks. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Supervisor McDevitt and Supervisor McGowan. My apologies to tourism and park tax. We went a few minutes over, not as bad as we have in the past. So
Thank you.
Thank you.